All right, let's talk about the London series because it was what the London series was supposed to be. Let's be honest. It's what they was supposed
There's
to be.
always really good games over there, and I don't know if it's because of the jet lag or just they're amped up for the series.
I don't
But
know.
for whatever reason, there are typically really good games over there,
Yeah,
and I love it.
yeah,
Here
I
for it.
agree. So Philly won game one, 7-2, and they're always high scoring games. You notice that Philly won game one,
Mhm.
7-2. Bryce Harper homered, and then slid into the dugout like a football player, like real football, not American football.
A footballer, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
footballer. Thanks. Not a football player. I guess that is technically the difference, is it not? Is it
It
not,
is the
Brad?
difference. You're right. It is the difference. Chap. Jay, I'm very good.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Special team. Yes, very good.
Ooh, we've been watching way too much Ted Lasso. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then,
Well, hold on, real quick. I thought
okay,
that
go ahead.
was absolutely appropriate that Bryce
Yeah.
Harper was the guy to do that. First off,
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know he's going to homer in this situation because he always homers when it matters
Yeah.
in a big spot. If he didn't homer in game one, he was definitely going to homer in game two.
For
Like
sure.
that's who he is, and that's what he does. And of course, he was the guy who came and slid on his knees into the dugout because he gets it.
He does get it. Yeah. He does get it. And he is, I think, in this moment, chiefly concerned with growing the game. I think it has
One
way,
thousand percent.
which is the point of the series anyway. But we talk about he gets it, like that's what he gets. It's not put
Well,
on a
so
show as
I
much
want to
as
take
it's grow the game. Go
a
ahead.
quick detour regarding this because he also said while he was there that he thinks Major League Baseball needs to take an Olympic break like the NHL does with hockey in the
Yes, he
Olympics,
did.
right? And he thinks that Major League Baseball needs to send big leaguers to the Olympics in 2020. And I think he's spot on. They absolutely
Spot
need
on.
to
Yeah,
because here's the thing is Major League Baseball, because they don't take a break, is going up against the Olympics,
they're gonna
right?
lose. They're gonna lose that broadcast game every day, or
Most
the
likely.
viewership game.
They
Yeah,
most likely, yeah, they
yeah,
most likely will. And one thing that Dan Patrick talks about is that the stories on the Olympics are not for you and I, not for the sports fan. They're for the casual sports fans.
for sure.
And if you get the casual sports fan learning about Bryce Harper and his path to the major leagues that started as a 15-year-old or a
Yeah,
16-year-old, whatever, however
Sports
old he
Illustrated,
was,
the whole
and
thing.
people
Yeah,
see that, like, wow, this guy who was on Sports Illustrated went and played college baseball because he needed his agent felt like he needed more competition to show that he
yep,
was capable. Got
yep,
drafted at 17, 18, and then was brought up to the big leagues at 19,
yep.
right? Like people learn about that. They learn about his story. They learn about stories of the Dominicans, the Japanese players, learn about because the Japanese players are going to be sending professionals.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
But
So
if
will
Major
South
League Baseball
Korea.
can get their top talent into the Olympics and get people seeing more about who they are and learning more about them, learning about Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge plays in the biggest market in Major League Baseball, and how
And
many people
delivers.
could not pick him out of a crowd
Right.
because they just don't know.
Here's the other thing. Let's not forget that Major League Baseball has an international group of athletes. And those players are also going to want to go and represent their home country or their country of ancestry if the opportunity presented itself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Major League Baseball says, nah, we're going to keep the season, we're going to keep it going. We're not going to halt gameplay. We're not going to slow gameplay. We're not going to take a short season. We're not doing any of that. How many guys will have the provisional opportunity to go and represent their home country? That's another thing I want to ask.
Well, you can't because if you're on a 40-man roster, you can't.
Right. But so you got your 40-man roster and then everybody below you bails to go play for
Yeah,
Venezuela or whatever, and then what happens when a 40-man goes down? Someone on the 40-man.
yeah, you
Right
have
in
to
the
bring
middle
in
of the
somebody who's
season
not. Yeah,
for however long
yeah.
cuz those guys are
Well,
gone.
and yeah, I think part of it though is it's that's going to go into it is I think teams are going to be like, no, you're like our 41st man, you can't go, right? Like I
Yeah,
think that's part of
I'm
what it's
sure
going to
they
be.
will. Yeah.
But or they just say this guy is available. But Todd Frazier talked on foul territory. He's like, I had just gotten released, so I
Yep.
was available. I went and played.
Yep.
He's like, it was awesome. The problem was there was no eyeballs on it.
You're right.
But if you
It
had
would be
big, and
distant.
I think he even said if you had full on big leaguers on, like there would be eyeballs on it for sure.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely right. We'll get into that more later,
Anyway,
Brad. I got
we
more to
will.
say on that.
I'm
We
sorry.
got more to
I figured
cover.
while we are talking about Bryce Harper in London, we'd talk about that real
Perfect.
quick.
Makes perfect sense because he is campaigning
Mm-hmm.
hard. He's let's say Brother Harper has his shoulder to the wheel, you might say.
He does.
New York, the Mets won Game 2 of the London series, also a 6-5 explosion of offense, and it
Well, and a lot of
basically,
it was the last inning. It was
I
crazy.
know, it was awesome. It was literally an explosion all the way at the end. So now we're gonna play a clip for you of one of the craziest endings that you'll ever see in any baseball game, but it happened to be on a what are we gonna call it? Marketing tour, a branding tour, some kind of
World Tour.
world
That's what they call it. They call it
barnstorming
MLB's
tour. I don't
World
care what they
Tour
call it. What are we calling it?
marketing
Anyway,
tour.
the point is, play the clip, Brad. Show the clip.
So
Here
you
we
got
go.
Nick Castellanos up to the plate. Bases are loaded, 1 out. His bat explodes. Luis Torrens gets it, steps on the plate, and then throws to first. Okay, so there are a lot of things going on here, Brig. I watched this and could not believe how
Yeah,
this actually went down. So look at Torrens here. So he steps on home plate, rolls his ankle, and then makes a perfect throw
yeah.
to Pete Alonso at first base
Well, and he
to
got
end
rolled
the game.
over at home plate.
Well, his ankle rolled because there's no
Yeah,
support and your foot can slip on the plate. But so this is the thing. I was looking at this. Like as that happened, as that bat exploded and the ball just dribbled out in front of home plate, I was like, this
swinging
is like
bunt.
a Disney movie about the Mets.
Yeah,
Like that's how a Disney movie about the Mets would end right there.
that's
Nick
that's
Castellanos'
exactly
bat
right.
doesn't break. It explodes into like
Yeah,
5
yeah,
pieces and a
yeah,
little dribbler. And then, of course, Luis Torrens, who I believe was in the Yankees minor league system earlier this year,
yeah. But a nothing,
has been
like
all
a nobody.
last year and a half, up and down with the Mariners a ton.
Yeah,
But he comes in and he makes a perfect play to field that ball, has the wherewithal to touch home
tons,
plate to get the out. But
tons of
then
baseball IQ.
it's just the craziest thing though, is that then his foot slips as his ankle rolls and he's looking up at the sky.
Yeah,
And as he went to throw it, I was like, that ball is going to right field. There is no way that's going anywhere but right field.
right.
And the fact that it was even low and not up high for Pete Alonso to catch, what an amazing play. I loved it
really
so
was.
much. I was cheering for the Phillies the whole way too, because I wanted the Phillies to sweep the thing and I wanted to see a comeback. But man, the fact that he made that play, I was just ecstatic. I was running around my house. I was like, they did it. Holy cow. How'd they do it?
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was such a great play to end the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it is storybook, right? That's iconic storybook type
Oh,
scenario.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just
because
insane.
doesn't that happen on Rookie of the Year? Isn't that what happens? Is that
Yeah,
Potato strikes out. I think it's
yeah.
Angels in the outfield. The guy's bat
Potato.
shatters.
Yeah, the bat shatters. It's not potato, it's Hato.
He calls him. I swear he calls him Potato.
Listen, if you're gonna listen, if you're gonna talk about the greatest baseball documentary of all time, I expect you to have your facts straight. Okay.
I swear he calls him Potato. And I think that's in my head because I remember watching that movie and I was like 9.
Yeah.
And one of my friends shouted potato. I was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And he's like, "That's what he says." And so he must say, "Hey, it's Hato."
Yeah.
But I've always heard potato.
Potato. Yeah. That's really freaking funny, man.